The wonderful thing about being on the jury in Survivor is that you still can have an impact on the game, and you ultimately have a say in determining who the winner is. So, there's all kinds of different, tests or criteria that a juror can have for who deserves the title of sole survivor, and it comes down to a number of things like who played the best game, who's the most likable, who maybe are you harboring a grudge against. I have a lot to think about tonight. I'm leaning a particular direction, but yeah, I love the power that we as the jury have. It's up to us who the winner is. For me, I think being such a super fan of this game, my criteria for who I'm going to vote as sole survivor is really, it comes down to who played the best game. Likability is important to me. Relationships that I formed in the game are important to me. But ultimately, I think the number one most important thing is who came into this game and played as hard as they could and made it to the final three. And I really believe that for myself right now, there's one name I'm thinking of writing down. I think back to like Survivor Cambodia and Jeremy Collins, extremely likable first of all, but he made this just epic final tribal speech. And you know what? Right now I'm leaning towards a particular direction as far as who I'm going to vote for sole survivor. But if one of the other remaining two survivors delivers a speech that I'm really moved by and touches me or resonates with me in some way, then that could absolutely sway my vote. So I wouldn't say that I'm 100% decided. I'm going to leave it open to what the survivors, what cases they make tonight for themselves. The reason I would vote for Adam is because I think he came into this game playing hard, and I really respect that as a super fan of this game. He made a lot of big moves. He found 2 idols. He won 1 immunity challenge. He went the distance, and I think he presented really coherent arguments about the moves he made and what the right thing to do. He was always strategizing and plotting and scheming. And so from a superfan perspective and just a game perspective, I have a lot of respect for the game that Adam played. And I think that that alone is worthy of Sole Survivor. I'll tell you who Hannah is. Hannah is basically the millennial me. She's the 24-year-old female version of me. She's a bundle of neuroses and anxiety and fear, and actually much larger than my own. And that's been a real struggle with her in this game, and I think it's even clouded some of her thought. I think she's made a number of irrational moves, not least of which is saving me when she could have voted me out and eliminated me as a threat. And I relate her game a lot in like Alec Guinness in Bridge on the River Kwai, where he's prisoner of war, and he's just so proud of his men and the work that he does that he ends up building this bridge, which is the worst thing he could do. And it isn't until the end of the film where he has this epiphany. It's like, what have I done? What have I done? I let this terrible thing happen. I'm responsible for it. And that's what I think Hannah had when she spared me and Brett went home, and Brett said, "Congratulations, David, you just won the game. Hannah, you're an idiot." And then of course all the jurors over here, their jaws are dropping, and that it wasn't until then that she realized the mistake that she made. And so Hannah, I think, is like I think I was in my game, was her own worst enemy. She was in the way of herself, but she managed. She on the very next vote flipped, got me out, and perhaps that's enough for the jury to say, all right, you made this huge mistake, but you corrected for it in the next vote. Hannah got all the way to the end, partly by aligning with me, partly by aligning with Zeke. I mean, she's another player in this game that I think played brilliantly when she did play brilliantly, and that was by, partnering with the right people and eliminating the right people as well. There were some blunders. It was by no means a perfect game, but her social game was great. She had conversations with everybody. She was playing both sides, sometimes more than both sides, sometimes much more. And so I think that Hannah has definitely a solid case to make for herself, and I'm excited to see whether or not she can do it. Ken made it to Final 3 essentially as a GOAT. Everybody wanted to take Ken, because the thing is, Ken just wasn't really familiar with the Survivor game and the strategy involved, and he didn't play a strategic game at all. What he did do was he was a provider. He brought us fish, he fed us, he was our cook. He made the fires happen sometimes when I was lax in that. But he really wasn't playing the game. He was just kind of there. He was part of camp life. And not that that's invaluable, but I do not think that that earns you the title of Sole Survivor. You don't get the title of Sole Survivor because you brought us some fish. You get the title of Sole Survivor because you played a really good game. And unfortunately for Ken, I don't think he did that. The only reason why I think I would vote for Ken is that for at least 37 days of my game, he was my most trusted ally. He was the one person in the game who I felt I could trust. And I felt I could trust him from about day 3 after I overcame my paranoia. So if I vote for Ken, it's because I feel like I formed a strong bond with him, and I respect the loyalty and trust that he showed me all the way up until day 38 when he voted me out. I feel nothing but incredible gratitude for the Survivor experience, and it meant a lot to me. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. Total dream come true, wish fulfillment, and I'm just happy to still be a part of it and have a say in who's going to be Sole Survivor.